Maybe you're not enough, but let's talk about it. So one of the mantras that I have people to repeat in a word of affirmation therapy is I am enough. But honestly, you may not be enough. Let's talk about why. So many times we hear in life that you're not enough. When you were younger, you heard that you weren't old enough to do this or to do that. And it was true, you weren't old enough. Even now, you might hear that you're not tall enough, maybe to play basketball or play a certain sport. Or maybe you feel like you're not pretty enough to get that person to be interested in you. And maybe you're not small enough to fit into that outfit that you like or that you want to fit into. And it's true, you're not enough. But that's okay because you were not meant to fit into those things. See, when you say you're enough, you got to understand that you are enough the way you were meant to be. And the way you were meant to be is dictated not by other people, but it's dictated by what you were placed here on this earth and amongst this wide universe of people. Just think about it. Yeah, you may not be tall enough to play basketball, but that's okay because you weren't meant to play basketball anyway. That wasn't your calling. And maybe you're not pretty enough to attract that certain person, but that wasn't the person that's supposed to be attracted to you or that you were supposed to have in your life anyway. Yeah, and maybe you're not old enough, but in time you will get there. But right now, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So it's important that we all accept. It's important that you accept your place in time and space at that particular time. And if you do, then you will be enough. For example, I remember when I was about 15 years old, not 15, 16 years old, and I was working at a newspaper agency. And there was this other guy that was working there. He was about 25, 26 years old. And I noticed that he had things that I wanted to have, right? He had three cars. He had a Lexus, he had a drop top Chevy, and he had some other vehicle I can't remember right now. And so I remember one day one of them saying, "Hey, how can I be like you?" And he said, "You can't because you're not me." I said, "No, I understand I'm not you, but well, how can I get cars and things like that?" And he said, "What is what I have to do with you, young man?" What do you mean? What does me having these cars have to do with what you have? He said, "You got a nice ride over there." I said, "What, that hoopty?" That's what we used to call raggedy cars back then. And he said, "That's the problem. See, in your mind, you look at it as a hoop, but that's what's getting you around. That's what's giving you, letting you be able to work this job. You see, you need to get in where you fit in. And if you fit in with that car right there, don't think of it as a raggedy car. Think of that car as a Benz and you ride it like a Benz. And you get in where you fit in. That's where people get themselves in trouble, where they try to be like somebody else. But you can't be somebody else. You could only be a better version of yourself. So, yes, you may not be enough for that next person. You may not be enough for that particular job or that particular thing that you want or you think or someone else thinks that you should be in. But find out what your calling is. Find out what you're meant to be doing. And then work on that. Be the best version of that. And don't worry about not being enough for someone else because you're not supposed to be anything for that person anyway. Find those that you are enough for and build those relationships. Grow those relationships. Those are the healthy. And remember in your mind that you are enough. you're enough right now in this time and space. Doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Doesn't mean that you can't grow. You can grow and you will keep growing. But at this particular moment, when you say, I am enough, you must understand that you are enough. You're beautiful enough. You're smart enough. You're tall enough. You're short enough. You're thin enough. You're wide enough. Whatever it may be, wherever you're at right now, that is enough for you and where you fit in the big scheme of things. So embrace that. Love that. We may have flaws, but that's okay. All of us have flaws. Just look at those flaws and say, hey, I know you're there, but you're not going to define me. I'm going to let my strong points define who I really am. Now, to do this, honestly, it takes a lot of courage. So, how do you get that courage? We're going to talk about that in the next video. So, see you all there. This is Dr. Pops for Affirmation Science, and let's talk about it again.